Hello everyone, this is Sunton2 and welcome to another History of Mods, this time on OmegaCraft and Loadcraft. We sort of split mods from TSONcraft around about 1.10 onwards, so compared to say TSONcraft's 5 iterations of having that cave biome, magic machines, tech machines, other bits and pieces, and then iterating upon itself in that over time. OmegaCraft sort of was the split of TSONcraft's tech aspects, and Loadcraft was the magic split of TSONcraft compared to just, say, magic machines and a transmutation table and bosses and other bits and pieces. There was split into the Lords, part of the mod's lore, and instead of just obviously having those bosses, it would be that you would follow the magic paths that they go down. I have like 6 different magic paths of sort of elements. So yeah, we're going to be looking at OmegaCraft mostly for the first half at least, and then Loadcraft for the second. So as you can see in that here at the moment, there's pretty much the basics of the mod of carrying across mostly the TSONcraft related machines that are all too familiar, and obviously 3 different tiers of them. We've got the common generators you'd expect, the quad versions. We've got cabling as well as the wireless variations. We've also got a long distance and a power API sort of changing block here, as well as the other different tiers of energy storage, ores, casings, swords, documentation, and all the other bits and pieces required. In TSONcraft 2 there was pretty much a bit of the same, a bit more expanding on the generators, as well as sort of just refining a few things, and there was obviously just the transportation and the upgrades, as well as the manipulators and gauntlets and other bits and pieces. So yeah, kind of getting into a bit of more common, but then also a bit more interactive things. In the 1.12, not 1.12.2 version of OmegaCraft, so skipping over 1.11, there's a bit more going on with sort of working out to be using obviously newer textures, making machines have configurable sides, sort of still continuing the power conversion aspect though. Exclusively though, the 1.12 version has a mining ball that was later removed, but certain aspects like the dark fabricator, light fabricator, and I think the dark tier of transportation methods were kept or removed. Machines became more modular in crafting, so you would craft the sort of base module, and then from there you would have it where you add other bits and pieces like redstone control or certain other aspects. Magmite was used obviously as a power generator rather than a machine tier converter, and we got a bit of the different Magmite tiers as well, which is mostly used for the later game. So you get machine workbench, just place that down, and obviously different modules are placed in there. And then we end up at OmegaCraft 3, which has completely dumped the flux inversion type power conversion thing to fully run RF. We've got most of the common machines, tiers, and otherwise. We've got dark variations of machines, all 3 tiers. We've got the precipitation, I'm pretty sure that uniquely from this point onwards. We've got more upgrades, the multiple slots, the dark and otherwise tiering. We've got the sort of utility aspects, as well as more of the organization of the modular system. And then we've got obviously in the common things like powered soil. We've got all the different transportation methods and the dark variations removed. The long distance power one was still kept. Dark Fabricator's still here, but the lava one I think was removed, if I remember correctly. Yep. The different generators at least were still kept, with lava, Catalytic, and Hungry at least. Now to move on to Lordcraft. Lordcraft, besides being the sort of part that would have the transmutation table and other bits and pieces of magic, now sort of formed into a mod where you have obviously the different lords, and there's different parts of magic you can take with elemental abilities. So you'd pretty much make tiles like so, and from A to Z, and then from there you would put them in a research station, which you would use alongside a book that looks pretty much like Cave Guide and otherwise, to then form certain words, and then from there you would unlock certain research. So for example, with certain bits and pieces in JEI, you would unlock water research, you'd be able to get to mana siphon, which obviously you put into a mana battery, which is your magic storage, which obviously after you mine the simple crystal deposits, you then obviously get a blank simple crystal, and then you obviously from there do other bits and pieces like your crystal pool to access the amount you have, making staves, making the different crystals and that to put into your configured elemental path, as well as obviously the advancements, which obviously tells you in that what sort of path you'll go down, because there's at least 2 paths per 6 paths of elemental abilities. So you can enhance things like getting tools, different staves, the different armor for research cost reasons, other bits and pieces, and then getting to Thalos, which is the highest point in the mod, being the one that can access all of them, or at least is sort of the master of elements of some kind. I can't remember exactly. There was at least 4 doubling, another one, or quadrupling? Tripling, sorry. But yeah, this is sort of the basis of the mod, and this was 1.2 beta, which I was familiar with for a time before it changed in quite a lot of interesting but good ways. So yeah. And then with the 1.12 version of Lordcraft, because the 1.11 one was just porting and access and other bits and pieces, we got a reworking of things, from more materials to different start tiers, as system being worked into sort of early stages of what it is now. The advancement system is probably a good way of working that out. I'm gonna need wood though. 1 second. Completely forgot that it actually uses the book now. So besides using the advancements or achievement system and that to work out how you would do things, you'd now use the book, which after going through each of these, which is just a bunch of paragraphs telling you how to do certain things, you go into the research tab, and then from there you would obviously put in certain letters, go through different research. So I've already done that, I can view that now. I go to Earth, which I'm in creative, so I'm skipping through the research, but you would pretty much see the word there, construction, get a bunch of tiles, and then you would put them like so, and then you would advance to getting access to obviously all the other bits and pieces like these siphons, the armors, the different tiers of workbench, other bits and pieces, staves, and otherwise. And from this point onwards, Lordcraft is mostly expanded on things like spell focuses, the translocation matrix, and a bunch of other utility blocks, as well as the runes, expanding upon each lord's powers, or 2 different paths from achieving the elemental path, or lord's destiny, I guess, other bits and pieces, and it pretty much is from this point onwards until the most recent version, mostly just expanding off each sort of lord. And in its current state, it has a completely reworked research system, as well as a bunch of other things like passive skills, and other bits and pieces, and yeah, thanks so much.